There is a moment in the story of creation that we almost never stop to consider. Not how Adam felt, how the angels felt, watching it happen. In the last episode, we told the beginning from the ground, from the dust, the breath, the names, the fall, and the forgiveness. Tonight, we tell the very same beginning from a different height, from above. Through the eyes of beings who had never once disobeyed, never doubted, never wondered, until the day God announced He would make something new. This is Adam in the angel's eyes. So begin here. Imagine an existence with no time in it. The angels were created from light, and for ages beyond counting, they had done one thing perfectly, without pause. They glorified God. There was no night for them and no day, no hunger, no fear, no question that did not already have an answer. They had never seen a single act of disobedience in all of creation. They did not know what it looked like. They could not imagine it. Obedience was not a choice they made. It was simply what they were. And then, into that perfect stillness, God spoke and announced something that had never existed before. I am placing upon the earth a successor, a Khalifa, a steward who would rule and choose and build. Now, try to hear that the way they would have heard it, because the angels were not guessing blindly and they were not reading the future. They were remembering. Here, the tradition fills in something the verse assumes but does not spell out. Adam was not the first creation to walk the earth with a free will. Before humanity, the earth belonged to the jinn, beings of fire given choice as we would be given choice. And according to reports transmitted from companions such as Ibn Abbas, in time many of them turned to corruption and to war, and they filled the earth with bloodshed. It was the angels themselves who were sent against them, to drive them from the land. The angels had seen this before. They had cleaned it up before. So when God announced a new creature of free will to be placed on that same earth, the angels did not need to see the future. They reasoned from the past. Another creature with the freedom to choose, would it not choose the same ruin the jinn had chosen? And so they asked, not in rebellion, but from memory, from experience, from a wound the earth had shown them once already. They asked a question: will you place upon it one who will spread corruption there and shed blood, while we glorify your praise and sanctify you? Stop on that question, because it is so easily misread. This is not rebellion. The angels are not refusing. They are not proud. That is a different character in this story, and we will come to him. This is the sincere confusion of a servant who cannot understand the wisdom of the master. As if to say, Lord, you already have us. We never disobey. We fill the heavens with your praise without pause or flaw. Why make a creature that will bleed the earth when you already have worshipers who never fail you? And notice something the scholars draw out of this exact moment. The angels asked God a question, and it was not held against them, which tells us something we badly need to hear. To ask when you do not understand is not disbelief. It is not arrogance. A sincere question asked with humility is not the opposite of faith. It can be part of it. What matters is what you do after the answer comes. The angels asked, and then, as we will see, they submitted completely the moment the wisdom was shown to them. That is the difference between a question that seeks understanding and a challenge that seeks escape. And God's answer is one of the shortest and heaviest sentences in the entire Quran. Indeed, I know that which you do not know. Not, you are wrong. Not, it will not happen. The angels' reasoning was sound. The corruption they feared would indeed come, just as it had come before them. But they were judging this creature by only one half of it, and God was about to show them the other half. What happened next was a test, and here is the quiet shock of it. The test was not for Adam. It was for the angels. God taught Adam the names of all things, everything, its name, its nature, its reality. And then he turned to the angels, these beings of ancient knowledge who had witnessed the making of the heavens, and he said, "Tell me the names of these, if you are truthful." And for the first time in their entire existence, the angels had nothing to say. These beings who knew the mechanics of the cosmos, who had never lacked an answer, stood before a list of simple names and could not speak one of them. Imagine that from the inside, the first silence, the first edge of your own knowledge you ever ran into. And notice what they did in that silence, because it is the most beautiful thing the angels do in this entire story, and it is the exact opposite of what pride does. They said, "Glory be to you. We have no knowledge except what you have taught us. Indeed, it is you who is the all-knowing, the all-wise." They did not guess. They did not pretend. They did not resent the creature that had exposed the limit of their knowledge. They admitted they did not know. And in the tradition, to say, "I do not know," when you do not know, is itself a station of the highest knowledge. Then God said, "Adam, tell them the names." And Adam spoke. And the angels watched this creature of dust, this being they had feared would only destroy, name reality itself, one thing after another, effortlessly. And in that moment, the angels understood what God knew that they did not. This creature could learn. The angels were vast but fixed, perfect and complete and unchanging. Adam was small and flawed and made of mud. But Adam could grow, could be taught, could rise from not knowing to knowing, from lower than the angels to, potentially, higher than them. The very thing that made him dangerous, his freedom, his capacity to be other than perfect, was the same thing that made him capable of a greatness no angel could ever reach. And think about what those names really were. Not just labels. The name of a thing is the beginning of understanding it, its nature, what it is, how it works. Every science humanity would ever build, medicine, language, engineering, the mapping of the stars, begins with the same act God performed with Adam that day. Naming, knowing, understanding the world one word at a time. The entire human project of knowledge was placed, in seed form, in that first lesson. The creature of dust was given the one gift that would let him read the signs written across all of creation. And then came the command that sealed it. God commanded the angels, prostrate to Adam. Understand what is being asked. These are beings who had bowed to no one but God across all of time. And now they are told to bow, not in worship, for worship belongs to God alone, but in honor. To lower themselves before this small, brown, breakable thing made of clay. And the angels, every one of them, fell down in prostration. Immediately, completely, without a single word of complaint. The beings who had questioned, who remembered the bloodshed of the past, who had just been humbled before this creature's knowledge, they did not hesitate. Because that was the answer to their own question. They had asked, why this creature? And now they knew, because this creature could do something they could not. It could choose to honor God freely, having the option not to. The angels bow because they cannot do otherwise. Adam's children would bow while being fully able to walk away. And a bow that could have been refused is worth more than a bow that never could. Every angel prostrated, except one who stood among them. But he was not an angel. and his refusal and the reason for it is a story that deserves its own telling. That is the next episode. For now, stay with the angels a moment longer, because their arc in this one scene is the whole lesson. They began expecting the worst of us, the violence, the failure, the blood, reasoning from a ruin they had already seen once before. And they were not foolish to fear it, but they ended on their faces in honor of us, because they finally saw the other thing. That a creature who can fall is also a creature who can rise. That a heart which can choose wrong is the only kind of heart whose love means anything when it chooses right. The angels saw our worst and were commanded to honor us anyway. The least we can do is become something worth the honor. Every source behind this episode is listed in the description, the verses God speaks, and the words the angels say, exactly as the Quran reports them. Next, the one who would not bow, who he really was, why the Quran insists he was not a fallen angel, and the single sentence he spoke that became the first sin in all of creation. Subscribe so you do not miss it. These stories were sent down to be remembered. Help someone remember. Share this story.